If you have gotten a Cricut machine recently, you may be wondering how to use iron-on HTV, also known as heat transfer vinyl. I'm going to show you guys how to make some very beginner-friendly Cricut projects to get you started. Make sure you guys stay tuned all the way to the end because I'm going to teach you guys a trick on how to get the perfect transfer. Hi, I'm Crystal. Welcome to Design Bundle's YouTube channel. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button as well as that notification bell so you guys don't miss any of our crafting tutorials. Let's go ahead and jump into project number 1. Starting off over on designbundles.net, this is the bundle that I'm using today for our very first project, and I'm actually going to be using this one right here, and it says, I never finish anything. I have a black belt in partial arts. You guys comment down below and let me know, do you guys start a project and then you just leave that and move on to the next? Or if you're like me and maybe you invest in all of this stuff and you want to get into making tumblers or something, and then you get started and you're like, I don't know, move on to the next one? Please let me know in the comments below that I am not alone. Raise your hand or let me know, like I said. So we're gonna be using this one today, and I found this really cute color here. I love this blue. It's almost like a mint. This is Comfort Colors. I just grabbed this locally at Hobby Lobby, but I'll have linked down below where I do like to purchase online, as well as all of the supplies I'm using today. I've got a lint roller, so if you guys are new to iron-on and those projects, it is important to use a lint roller to remove any sort of lint so it don't get caught up and trapped underneath your iron-on. And then for today, like I said, we are using Siser, but the very first one I wanted to start out to show you, you can actually purchase this by the foot, or just individual sheets, or you could purchase it by the roll. So there is tons of different distributors out there. We're gonna have some link down below for you, but you could definitely purchase this all over the place. And even Michaels carries Siser, I do believe, but Siser is just one of my favorite brands. And so I'm gonna show you using a roll like this. And then whenever it comes to trimming down my iron-on, I really like to use a paper trimmer. So I've got a paper trimmer for that. And then I'm simply gonna be using my blue mat. So you can use your blue or your green mat, if you will. We're going to be using the Cricut Explore 3 today. It's one of my favorites. Now, if you guys are new to using your Cricut and you purchase like the Cricut Explore 3 or the Maker 3, so that way you could use it without the mat, you may be using the Cricut Smart materials and you would be able to just load that without your mat. So we can definitely get into that later in a whole other video. If you guys are interested in wanting to see those Cricut Smart materials, please let me know down below. All right, so that is our materials. Let's go ahead and download this and head on over to Cricut Design Space. All right, so now that we're over here in Cricut Design Space, to upload your file, you're simply just gonna go over here to upload, click on that, and then we're gonna come right here where it says upload image. So you can actually just drag and drop it from your computer or simply just use the browse button. And what I do is just go to downloads or recent. You're gonna see your folder right there, double click. And what you're looking for whenever it comes to Cricut for your cut files is going to be an SVG. Your PNG is gonna be for your print and cut files. And if you have a silhouette, for example, you would be looking for the DXF file. The EPS would be for an embroidery machine and things like that. So just in case you're wondering, what is the difference in those? That's what it is. So we're looking for our SVG files. We're going to click on that, and then we're going to find the one that we're using today. All right, for me, I'm using this one right here. We're just gonna click on open and it's gonna bring it straight over here. Now with this SVG, you notice I don't have anything else I need to do. I could definitely rename this if I want to. So maybe I wanna get rid of the numbers, and that way when I go to search for this, I'm gonna be able to find it. I could add tags if I want to. So maybe I wanna put in funny, so that way I can find my funny designs. And then we're simply gonna click on upload. Now from here, this is where all of our uploads are going to go. You're just going to simply click on it and click add to canvas. And so we're going to bring this over, and now we're going to get ready to resize it. Now with this particular file, you're going to notice on the right that there is multiple layers. The reason why is you can actually click on these individually and you can change the color of these. So to do so, the very first thing you actually want to do is click on the entire thing, come up here to ungroup, and then click on those layers. So say for example on finish, I want to have this one be pink. I could come in there and I can individually change those colors. So that is really nice. Now for me today, I'm going to be using all black. So what I want to do is just reselect everything, and then we're just going to group that back. Now, if you want to make it one solid file here on the right, you don't want to see all of these individual pieces, you could come down to combine, and then you can just simply hit weld, and now it's going to be one solid file, as you can see right here on the right. Now, what you want to do is figure out our measurement whenever it comes to iron-on. So I'm going to go ahead and scoot this stuff out of the way, and we're going to get ready to measure. All right, first things first, get your t-shirt laid out. This is a small. You want to take yourself a tape measure. Highly recommend, go to the sewing section, order online, get yourself a little sewing measuring tape. Usually you can get them for 99 cents, the little plastic ones. And then you're just simply going to go ahead and measure. Another thing that I absolutely love to use when it comes to rulers is those wooden rulers you get at school time. So you know when it's time for back to school, those wooden rulers that are over there with all the school supplies, they're literally a quarter. I love to use those as well. I did for years until I started using a sewing one, but that's just another tip there. So I think what I'm going to do is maybe go about 8 inches wide. So you just kind of want to figure out what looks good to you. Then you can always say, okay, I want to go, you know, at least maybe I could go around, you know, 9-10 inches there or something like that. So now what we're going to do is head back over to Cricut Design Space, and we're going to input those numbers. So we're going to come up here to that width, and I'm just going to go ahead and put in 8 inches, and it's going to give me 6.34. So I'm completely fine with this. I think it's going to look great. So we are going to go ahead and all right, so I've changed my mind, and I'm going to go ahead and go 8.5 just to be sure, because you know that eye never is going to be a little bit smaller and things. So I'm going to go ahead and go 8.5. We're ready to go. So once you have this sized out, once again, to change your color if you wanted to, say for example, I'm going to actually be doing this with blue, you could do all of those things right there. We're going to hit that back button because like I said, I'm just using black iron-on, and then we're going to go ahead and click make it. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and tell it we're using the matte, and then we're going to hit confirm. So whenever it comes to using iron-on, heat transfer vinyl, you want to make sure that you turn your mirror on. So this is where a lot of mistakes get made, is you forget to turn the mirror on, and a lot of us still forget to do that. So a lot of people will do things to remind them by, you know, putting little things here that says, did you remember to mirror, or things like that. Now, when we choose that we're actually using iron-on, Cricut will warn us again to say, did you mirror? So you do have that as well. Now, what we want to do is, I love to save all the material that I can. If you're using a 12 by 12 sheet, you could definitely just load it on there and then trim it after the fact. But if you're using something like the roll, you really want to be mindful for that. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to look at this. So I know that I need to be 9 inches by about 7.5. So I already know that this is 12 inches wide, so I'm going to go with that smaller number. So that's a little tip as well. So we're going to go ahead and trim this 7.5, and then we'll have the 9. I can even trim it after the fact if I wanted to with the paper trimmer, and that's probably what I'm going to go ahead and do. So let's go ahead and trim this down now. So I'm going to scoot this out of the way. We're going to bring in our paper trimmer here. All right, so I'm going to have it in this direction here. And then I'm going to go ahead and just peel. I like to just keep the tape on here just to kind of keep my thing together. And then we're just going to go ahead and roll it underneath here. And then, like I said, I'm going to cut it 7.5. I really like the rolls, and the ones that I like to purchase is my main color. So I mostly use black and white. So I purchase those in the big rolls, and then whenever it comes to all of my colors, I purchase them individual. I know when we first start out, we all want to go out and buy, like, you know, every color that you can, but definitely slow down. You can spend money on other things and just order the things that you need just to get started. All right, so here it is. Like I said, if I wanted to at this point, I could go ahead and put it back in, and we can just trim it to the 9. I'm going to go ahead and do that now just to kind of show you. All right, and that way I could save this piece for later. I don't have to think about trimming it after the fact. We're already ready to go. So now let's get ready to load it on the mat. All right, so like I said, I am using the mat today. I've got this here. We're going to go ahead and load it down like this, and then we're going to get ready to cut it. So now what we need to do is go ahead and hit continue, and then we're going to choose that proper material. Whenever it comes to using Siser heat transfer vinyl, the setting that you can use is the everyday iron-on. So for the Cricut everyday iron-on, it is the exact same whenever it comes to Siser. We're ready to go. We're getting the flashing on the computer, on the Cricut, if we will. And now we're going to go ahead and load it. So I'm just going to go ahead and get it here, and then hit the load button. So the Cricut's going to take that in for us. It's going to make sure that you have the correct mat, and then it's going to be ready to go. So once you get that flashing here on your go button, you're good to go. So we're just going to go ahead and wait for it to slide across there. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and hit go. All right, so we are done cutting, so we're just gonna go ahead and hit the unload button, and then we're just simply gonna go ahead and flip the mat over and peel. I'm gonna go ahead and get this out of the way, and we're gonna get ready to weed it. We got it cut out, so I'm actually gonna show you guys a little hack. So if you notice, when you go to peel this, or weed it if you will, we're gonna go ahead and start out with a corner, and then we're gonna be able to just weed the excess. Now, if you kind of struggle a little bit with weeding, it's not necessarily your material, but it could be the weather. So whenever it's cooler, you'll notice that you have a little bit more of a tug when it comes to weeding, where when it's warmer, it may weed a whole lot faster. So all you simply have to do is take your Cricut Easy Press, warm up the bottom of your pad here for a second. If you have a big heat press, just close it for a second, get it out of the way, and then you can weed right on the platform. So what you're gonna do, make sure that you have the carrier side down, make sure your material's up. We're gonna let it kind of warm up there, so just setting it down, letting it get warm, and then we're gonna go back in here, and you can see it's just, they're coming off like butter now. Now, whenever you're gonna weed this, if you have a bunch, you may have to go back and warm up a couple of times, but you guys can see the difference there. Hopefully you guys can see that. It's just weeding a whole lot easier. So just warm up your pad for a few seconds. So just gonna go ahead and continue to weed out all these pieces, and you can see how quick that was. So definitely, I hope you guys enjoyed that tip. If that was a new tip for you guys today, let me know in the comments down below. All right, so I'm just gonna continue to go in here. We've got all of these little bitty pieces here. I'm just gonna go in and weed all of those out. So you guys can see, I kind of went in, I didn't peel off every single one. I just kind of went in, got those pieces with the same little tool, and then kind of pull those off just like so. So I've just got a couple more here, and we're gonna be good to go. All right, so I think that was our last one. Let me see, I think we've got one more piece here. I think that's good. Let me go and flip it around so you guys can hopefully see that there. Hopefully you guys can see it a little bit better, but I think everything is completely out of there. It looks good. I always just kind of flip it around, look at it in the correct way, double check that all of those little bitty pieces are out, and they are. So this guy is ready to go. Now, to find the center of your design, all you simply have to do is fold it in half. Get this little piece out of the way. Fold it in half, and you're gonna line up the side to side. So from one side to the next. So just kind of get those nice and even, and then pinch it right here at the top, and that's gonna give you the exact center of your design. So I'm gonna go ahead and set that out of the way. I'm gonna clean this up, and we're gonna get ready to press our t-shirt. All right, so we're ready. I'm gonna go ahead and take my t-shirt, get it up here on top of my Cricut heat pad, and then just kind of center that up, get it nice and smooth, and then we're gonna go ahead and take our lint roller and remove any sort of lint or debris, smooth everything out. The next step that is very, very important whenever it comes to using iron-on heat transfer vinyl, you wanna take your Cricut and you want to remove any sort of moisture and smooth everything down. So this is gonna pull out any sort of moisture that's in there, and like I said, just kind of smooth it. Because if you go to put this on there with some wrinkles and you go to pull, you may tear your iron-on, and if you put it with moisture underneath, it's not going to allow for a really good stick. So definitely don't skip this step. Now, when it comes to darker t-shirts, you can't see it with this one today, but say for example, I was using a really bright red or a really dark blue. When you go to press that to pull the moisture out, you may notice that the color looks different. It's because it has pulled out the moisture and it's wet. It will completely go back to normal in just a few minutes once it's completely like dried down, if you will. So this is good. You really want to let it kind of cool back down before you start trying to place this anywhere, because it's so hot. If you go to place it, it may be stuck forever. So give it just a few seconds just to kind of cool just a bit. Now, the way that I actually trim this down, you can see our designs all the way up at the top. I like to do that so I can really see exactly where this is going to go. Now, when it comes to placement, one thing to keep in mind is 3 fingers. You really want to come down around 3 to 4 fingers, just kind of depending on the design. And it also depends on the t-shirt. So when you get down to youth, it may be only 1 finger, 2 fingers, but really just kind of look at it and see if it looks good. Now, this is a mistake that all of us has made, and I still sometimes don't even know how I do it, but I'll still make a mistake. But in the beginning, all of us are guilty. Raise your hand. Also, let me know in the comments below if you have done this. Is you put your design right here, and then you realize once you go to put it's down here. So you end up with your design like somewhere right about here. Been there, done that so many times. When I first started making shirts, especially baby onesies, and I would gift it to somebody, and by the time they put the pants on, it was covering half of the design. So don't feel bad. Don't feel alone. But like I said, so now what I'm going to do is we're going to follow the tag here. That tag is going to be our center. we're just gonna come down about that 3 fingers or so. I'm gonna lay this down here, kind of eyeballing, looking to see if it looks good. That honestly looks pretty good to me, so I'm gonna lay it down, make sure it looks good. Another thing I will do, I'm not afraid to pick it up. Once I get that there, I may hold it up, even though it's not my size shirt, I'll hold it up and say, does that look straight? Does that look like it's good enough? And then I'll commit. So especially when you're in the beginning stages, don't be afraid to do that, all right? So here we go. So we're gonna lay this back down, make sure we're nice and smooth, and we are ready to press this. So we've got our design, so now we're just gonna take our Cricut Easy Press. I've got it at 320 for 30 seconds. All right, so we're just gonna go ahead and lift that. I don't need to put anything in between this. As long as the cover sheet is completely covering this, I don't need parchment or anything. So you're good to go. Now, if you're gonna do multiple layers, then at that point, once you pull off this one, you may wanna go ahead and put down a parchment. So we're gonna go ahead and get this on here, and we're gonna go ahead and press. So what you wanna make sure you do is have nice, even pressure. So you can see I'm not just one-handed, I've got both hands on here, even across the board, giving it some pressure. If you have a big heat press like this, it's gonna give really nice pressure. You can adjust that dial. And for a bigger heat press like this, you wanna do around 312 for around 10 seconds. It doesn't even take as long as the Cricut Easy Press, so that way you kind of know that as well. All right, so we are down to 2 seconds. We're gonna go ahead and get this lifted up and out of the way, and we're gonna get ready to pill it. Now today we are using Siser Easyweed. So whenever it comes to using Siser Easyweed, it is actually a hot pill. So you can pill this hot or warm or even cold, honestly, but it is a hot pill, which means you can go ahead and peel it right away and you're not gonna have any issues. So pay attention to what brand that you're using, because it could be a hot or a cold pill. So if you ever go to peel this and you notice that it's coming up with you, it doesn't necessarily need more heat. It's probably because it's a cold pill. So you wanna put it back down and just let it cool down and then peel it up. So as you can see, it looks amazing. It is so, so cute. I never finished anything. I have a black belt in martial arts. Now, when it comes to a Cricut Easy Press, we are definitely not done here. So what you wanna make sure you do is flip it over, and we're gonna press again for 15 seconds. So I'm gonna go ahead and just flip it over, smooth everything out, and this time we're gonna press it one more time for 15 seconds. I've still got my timer at 30 seconds, but I'll stop it when it gets to 15. So definitely make sure you don't skip this step, because this is what's going to ensure that this is going to last a very, very long time. Once again, when it comes to a bigger heat press, you don't need to do that. And what this is doing is it's applying heat to the back side and really helping to make sure that that adhesive on the back has really melted and bonded to the t-shirt. So there you have it. And it also just kind of really helps sink the iron-on into the t-shirt. So you're gonna notice once you do that, that it is just a little bit more finished and it's just kind of sunk down in there. I really love it. I think it came out so, so cute. You guys let me know in the comments below if you guys will be recreating this Cricut project, because it was super duper easy, and I really hope that you guys do. So like I said, let me know in the comments below if this is one that you're going to be creating. Project number 2, we are going to be adding some iron-on to this canvas tote bag. So I figured I would show you guys another product, you know, whether it's gonna be a pillowcase or whatever. This is canvas, and how easy it is to personalize and customize a tote bag. Once again, I grabbed this at Hobby Lobby for like $1.49, super duper affordable. So we're gonna be doing this one. The iron-on that I'm using for this one is the Siser Sparkle. So we use the Easyweed for the other one, which is gonna be your basic colors, your basic iron-on, if you will. And for this one, it is called Sparkle. What I love about this one is it is a glitter, but it has no texture. So if you guys are new to your Cricut and using iron-on and things like that, Siser has one that's glitter, and then they have a sparkle. They also have a twinkle as well. The glitter is gonna be very thick. It's very thick to cut. You're gonna have to use a whole nother setting for the glitter setting, and you're gonna feel that texture. None of the glitter is gonna come off, but it's very thick and just very textured. So whenever you do a design, very thick, very not too movable. But with this, the sparkle, it's 100% identical to the Easyweed, but it has the sparkle to it. It's gorgeous. They have several really, really cute colors, including this one. I want to say this is possibly called Bubblegum Pink. I'll have it linked down below for you guys, but it's gorgeous. And this is a 12 by 20 or 12 by 24 sheet. So this is perfect for your bigger projects too. So instead of getting the roll, this is like the long sheets. Because what I like to do when I store mine, I store them in a drawer flat. I really prefer that over the rolls, but this is going to be sheets. Whether you purchase it in a 12 by 12 or like the 12 12 by 20 or 12 by 24, not too sure. But this one right here, love, love, love the color. So we're gonna do this one on the tote bag, because on the black, that's really going to pop. You could definitely use white on this to really get it to pop as well, but even like a color like this and then that sparkle, so good. So what we're gonna be doing is, for the design, I'm actually gonna be using this bundle right here. It comes with 25 designs, and the one that I'm actually gonna be using, if I can find it really quick, is right here. It is WTF, Where's the Food? This is gonna be a perfect tote bag for me to take to the grocery store. I'll probably get a few laughs along the way throughout the store, and maybe just give somebody a smile or giggle along the way. All right, so we've got this. Now it's gonna be the same exact way. I'm gonna use my paper trimmer for this. I've got my lint roller, so all the same things, and we're still using the Cricut Explore 3. Now let's go ahead and download this again and take it over to Cricut Design Space. Alright, so I found my file. We're going to go ahead and hit download files once again, download it, send it to the computer, and now we're ready to go back in to Cricut Design Space. Alright, so we're going to do the same thing as before. We're going to go ahead and hit the upload button. We're going to go ahead and upload image. We're going to go to browse. We're going to find that folder, double click, and then we're going to find the one that we need, right? So we're going to use the SVG files, and then I'm going to go in and find that exact one, which is right here. And then we're just going to go to open. So same thing like last time. I'm going to go in here and just delete all of these pieces here, just so it's simple for me to search. Once again, maybe I'll put in tote bag. So that way I know when I'm looking for a tote bag design, I'm going to be able to find that. So we're going to go ahead and click on it here, and then click add to canvas, and then we're going to get ready to resize it. Now, same thing as last time, you're going to notice that we have all of these pieces here, so we could really go in. We can make this heart pink if I wanted to do all these different colors. Same thing as last time. I just want to go to combine and go to weld, because I just want this to be one file, and then we're going to go ahead and size it out. So let's go ahead and measure our tote bag and see how big we want this to be. I'm going to maybe we'll do like a 10 by 10 design. All right, so I'm gonna do a nice big bold design. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a 10 by 10. So we're gonna come up here and we're gonna go to 10 there, and it's gonna give me about 9 high, and I'm happy with that. One thing to keep in mind with your tote bags is this bottom flap here and the way that it's gonna set. So you really kind of don't wanna get down into this area, the way that it's gonna set on the floor, so that way you can still see your design. So that works for me. So now what we're gonna do, we have sized this out, we are ready to go. We're gonna go ahead and go to make it just like we did last time. We're gonna choose on the mat, and we're gonna hit confirm. Now, what do we have to do when it comes to the heat transfer vinyl? If you guessed it, you are correct. We've got to go ahead and turn on that mirror. So mirror, mirror, mirror is the one thing that you've got to get used to. So for this one, we are using, once again, a sheet. So I'm going to cut it down to the 10 inches. So that is my smaller piece, because I've got 10 and a half here, but once again, it's going to be 12. Now, when it comes to sheets, even the rolls, sometimes you may notice that you're not even getting the whole 12 by 12. Sometimes it's like 11 and a half. So always be mindful and measure your materials and make sure that you're not cut too short there. All right, so we're going to cut this one to the 10 inches, like I said. So in the meantime, let's go ahead and hit continue, and then we are going to go ahead and choose. Just like I said, for the Siser Sparkle, we're going to be able to use the everyday iron-on once again. So we're just going to choose that one here. And then if I was using glitter, because you could definitely use the glitter as well, it is a thicker one, you want to choose the glitter iron-on settings. So let's go ahead and trim this down. I'm going to go ahead and scoot this out of our way, and let's go ahead and trim it down. Just going to go ahead and get this open, and we're going to feed it all the way through until we get to that 10 inches. All right, just like so. And then we're going to trim that, and we'll save this piece for later. All right, so we've got our piece here. I'm not going to worry about trimming this one. I'm going to put the whole thing on the mat, and we'll trim it after the fact, so I can kind of show you that as well. We're going to scoot this out of the way, and we're going to get ready to load it on the mat. All right, same thing. We're going to go ahead and use that blue mat. I'm just going to go ahead and make sure we get this down. So you guys can see there, it's not completely to the 12. So this one is a little bit shorter, like I've talked about. So it's probably closer to like 11.8 or something. So be mindful for that whenever it comes to your materials. All right, so we're going to get ready to load this. So make sure that you always load it with your shiny side down, depending. Some materials are different. So we're going to go ahead and load this. For example, if you were to use something like a puff HTV that kind of puffs out like popcorn, the side that you're actually going to be laying down is the matte side. So it does get confusing sometimes. So we're going to go and load that, and we're going to get ready to cut this out. All right, so let's go ahead and hit the go button. While that's cutting out, let's go ahead and prep up our tote bag. So we need our tote bag back over here, as well as the lint roller. We're gonna take our lint roller once again. We're gonna go ahead and go over the entire bag. I don't know if you guys can pick it up or not, but this thing was covered in the lint. So I'm just gonna go over this entire thing, so that way I don't have to risk anything messing up later on. So we're gonna go ahead and set that out of the way. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and take our Cricut Easy Press and we're gonna go ahead and pull out that moisture, just smooth everything down like we did before, just to make sure there is definitely no moisture for sure. So we've done that. One thing is with these tote bags, I think these are maybe about a 12 by 12. The bigger Cricut Easy Press is perfect for this. If you have a 9 by 9, that's also going to work. But if, say for example, you have a smaller tote and you have seams, you may want to look into getting something like a pressing pillow or taking a smaller Cricut Easy Press and putting it on the inside. So instead of having it underneath, you would just put it on the inside of the tote bag. All right, so we are ready. We're gonna take this off once again, flip your mat over, and then just peel it right off the mat. We're going to get this out of our way. We're gonna get ready to weed it again. Now for this one, I only have like maybe this much. I'm not gonna save that. I used to get super crazy whenever I first started. I still do save any sort of scraps that I can. But something like this is gonna be probably less than an inch or so. It definitely is not worth saving and filling up our craft space. So we're gonna do the same thing that I did before. Is I'm just gonna go ahead and heat up my heating pad. I'm gonna warm it up for just a second. All right. We're gonna get this, once again, shiny side down, just kind of rubbing like this just to smooth it out and get everything nice and warm and cozy. And then we're gonna go ahead and get our weeding tool and get started. So this is just gonna help it weed out a whole lot easier. And so as I weed this, hopefully you guys are gonna be able to really see that color. Oh, it's so, so pretty. And it's just going to pop off of this tote bag so nicely. All right, so we're just gonna go ahead and go through here. Carefully peel off all of these pieces. Trying to be careful. I'm definitely peeled some pieces off, so just be careful there. And then there we have it. But I'm gonna bring this up so hopefully you guys can see that a little better. Hopefully you guys can see that sparkle. It is gorgeous. I love it so, so much. All right, so we're just gonna go ahead and continue to weed all of these pieces out. Just gonna go in here and get out all of these small pieces. Now you guys let me know if you guys are not new and you guys are just following along with our tutorial here, what is your favorite way to remove or store this? Do you have a little trash can next to you? Do you have one of those nail polish things that you wear on your fingers? Or do you just simply set it beside you like so? Maybe you like to use this hack here, which is where you just take your lint roller and you'll just pop them onto that. It just helps pull it off of your weeding tool and just kind of holds it all in one time. So let me know, what is your favorite hack? Now I went back and found my E, so I'd accidentally pulled off a little piece of my R of my E. I just went back and grabbed it. So that's why it's important too, not to just completely trash your stuff until towards the end. It is easy to accidentally pull those off. So whenever you're warming this up, so like with this one, I think I probably got it a little bit too warm that everything wanted to come up. So I just went back and grabbed it and easily laid it back down because this carrier sheet's pretty sticky. It allows for that. Easy peasy fix. So there it is, gorgeous. Once again, you always want to flip it around, look at it. With this piece right here, I'm probably gonna go ahead and trim off this excess because where I'm gonna be lining it up, I don't want all this extra kind of there just confusing me. So we're gonna do just like we did last time, fold it over, figure out from side to side, pinch that, and now we have our center and we are ready to go. All right, so we've got our tote bag ready to go. Now we've got our design. I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of get this where I want it. Once again, I'm paying attention to that bottom. I'm trying to avoid that. And so just kind of figuring out, the center is obviously going to be between the two arms there, the two straps, if you will. I think that looks good. I'm really excited about it. Now, this is barely going to cover the entire thing. If it didn't, you can always do half and half. So this did, we're gonna go ahead and hit go. Same thing, 320 for 30 seconds. So it's really cool between the sparkle, especially for a beginner, instead of going out and getting the glitter, get the sparkle because it's going to allow you to have the same cut settings, the same heat settings, everything. I mean, you're gonna be able to layer on top of each other where you can't do that with regular glitter iron-on. So we're just giving nice even pressure just like we did before. And so we're gonna go ahead and give it just a few more seconds and we are good to go. All right, perfect. So we're gonna lift it. Now, same thing. This is a hot peel, so we could go ahead and grab our corner here and just peel, just like so. Perfect. The colors are so, so gorgeous. I really love the way that this came out. I'm gonna try to bring it up a little bit closer so hopefully you guys can see there. Hopefully you guys can see that sparkle. It is so, so cute. Absolutely love the way that this came out. It's gonna be adorable to be walking through the market there, have my little tote bag, maybe like I said, give a few giggles, maybe a few smiles or waves along the way. So here we have it. Now, you're gonna do the exact same thing we did with a t-shirt. You would flip it over and you would press it again. But I wanna show you guys a final tip to ensure, to make sure that everything is just super smooth and it's sunk down into whether it's a t-shirt or a tote bag, and it's gonna help you just transfer a whole lot better and just make sure everything looks clean and crisp. My tip for today for a perfect transfer is getting yourself these parchment paper sheets. Now, like I talked about before, you definitely wanna have these if you're layering. So for example, I got this down, now I'm coming back in with another one. You could definitely save the carrier sheet that's on here to place back on top as long as everything is completely covered. But one thing that I have learned with like a parchment paper like this is you can cover everything, nothing's going to stick to it, and then you can press just for another maybe, 3 to 5 seconds. Just give it a 3 to 5 second, really giving it some nice pressure there, and then lift, and that is going to really press it down in there. So not having that carrier sheet in between, that barrier and all of that, that's really gonna help sink that design. You don't wanna go too far because you don't wanna overheat. So 3 to 5 seconds, give some nice pressure, and that is just going to help smooth everything out and help sink it down into whether it's this tote bag or a t-shirt. So if you ever notice that it just seems like it's setting on top, get that parchment paper on top, press it once again, give it some nice pressure, and it's gonna really just smooth everything out, especially whenever it comes to a Cricut Easy Press because you don't have the pressure like you do for your bigger heat press. Now you guys let me know in the comments below if you guys found this tutorial helpful, especially if you guys are new here and you guys are just now getting into your iron-on or heat transfer vinyl. Let me know if you guys found this helpful. Also, if you guys are not new to the Cricut, let me know if you guys have been inspired to go out and craft today. Now don't forget, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button as well as that notification bell down below so you guys do not miss any of our crafting tutorials. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye for now.